Protesters and police clashed in a violent fashion following an anti-immigrations and customs enforcement, also known as ICE, protest in downtown Seattle yesterday night, with pepper balls, tear gas, fireworks, and other weapons being deployed from the sparring sides. What was originally, and what remained largely, a peaceful protest ended in violence in the late hours of Wednesday night. One of our reporters, Brandon Matisich, was there to capture the events that unfolded. At first, it was a largely peaceful event. I mean, and it kind of remained that way. I don't want to, say anything that isn't true. And for the majority of the time, the most damage that was being done was spray paint to walls during the march. What eventually happened, though, is after a bulk of the original crowd left, and only a small handful of more dedicated protesters remained, things escalated. I remember taking pictures of the building, which had been just absolutely covered in spray paint, all kinds of stuff, right? Glass had been broken. They had barred the door shut and all the entrances with like the Lime scooters you find around Seattle. And I remember taking pictures of the building. And I hear someone to my right. He's like, "Holy shit, what is that?" And I turn around to look, and I just see this big blaze in the middle of the crowd. So I run over, and I'm weaving through the crowd, running towards the fire. And it turns out to just be a huge dumpster fire, and smoke is just going everywhere. People are yelling, cheering, freaking out. Some people are like, "This is too much for me," and they leave. And this kind of thins the crowd a little. And then as I'm taking pictures of this dumpster, I just hear like the loudest boom, right in my face. And I remember I just duck and cover. I could feel like it, singeing the hair on my arms, and I was like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, what was that?" And I'm backing up, and I look over, and it's just fireworks, just in the middle of this crowd, in the middle of the street, just exploding left and right. Um, and it was scary, but it was really interesting because that was kind of, to me, the turning point of the night. Once those fireworks went off, the police were everywhere, and they were surrounding us. Me and a couple other reporters that were there kind of stood to the side as the protesters marched up this main street that leads to the federal building, Marion Street. And at the top, there was just rows and rows and rows of officers on bikes, some with batons, some with pepper ball launchers, some with tear gas. They had a big car with a big noise disruptor on top. And for barely less than a minute, they stood face to face with the protesters. And then I didn't see who did it, but fireworks just started erupting in the cops. And the second that happened, they charged.
Seattle Police Department, move back from the officers or you're subject to arrest.
For a more detailed account of the events, as well as information about the events that led up to them, check out the full story featured below or on our website if you're watching on a different platform.